Pnawn Thar and a very good afternoon from the Stoke Kai Ras. Ipswich Town were here just 8 days ago in FA Cup fourth round action. They're straight back here this afternoon. Kieran McKenna's side making another 500-mile round trip from Suffolk to face a Wrexham team keen to get back to winning ways in the league after a midweek draw down at Bristol City. Ipswich arrived third in the table, but having yet to score against Wrexham in their two meetings this season. They are, though, a team very much on an upward ascendancy at the moment. Just one defeat in their last 9 in the league. So a stiff test ahead for Phil Parkinson and his side. Mia Roberts and Andy Morell are in position this afternoon. Good to see you both again. Andy, we wait 160 years to play Ipswich for a second time back in October, and we've now faced them twice in a week. What sort of challenge are you expecting from Kieran McKenna's team this afternoon?
Oh, I'm thinking that it's going to be completely different to last Friday. They've sort of prioritised this game ahead of the FA Cup, and we took full advantage of that last Friday. The team's completely different. They've gone back to the team that beat Derby, and I think they've rested. They've had some of them had 2 weeks off, and so they'll be gone in straight for this. And really, it's only the result that will vindicate whether that decision was right or wrong for them.
Mia, a hard-working performance against Ipswich last Friday night. As Andy says, many changes in personnel for Ipswich today, with just Kipre surviving from that 11. But are you expecting the style of Kieran McKenna's team to be similar to what we saw in the Cup?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think that sort of changes in terms of his, philosophy and how he wants his teams to play. I think, what we will see today is probably a bit more intent from this Ipswich side. I felt like they were totally missing that really in that FA Cup game, and it sort of came across a bit like they had prioritised the league, and that was a bit of a surprise to me really, because I thought that sort of winning mentality would sort of sustain in what was a good cup night for Wrexham in the end, but it wasn't the case. But absolutely, I agree with Andy. I think there's a bit of pressure on this Ipswich team today to actually prove that was a good decision by Kieran McKenna, and to try and get back in that sort of race for the automatics in the league.
Well, Phil Parkinson, of course, himself made 5 alterations to the original side that had played in the previous league fixture before the Ipswich game last Friday night. He's, of course, had a midweek match to think about with that trip to Bristol City on Tuesday and a 2-2 result in the southwest. Let's have a look at the team that Parkinson has named this afternoon, because it sees 2 changes from the team who came back from Ashton Gate with a point, both of them in attack. Kiefer Moore comes back for Sam Smith, who had started 7 of the last 10 games, and Josh Windass makes a return for Nathan Broadhead. Broadhead onto the bench against the side he served last season. We also see Zach Viner coming onto the bench for the first time as a Wrexham player. He arrived, of course, with that toe injury from Bristol City, but having trained well this week, Viner gets an opportunity to be a substitute. So steady as you go in the back 3. Cleworth, Hyam and Doyle again being given the shirts by Parkinson, with Okonkwo behind them in goal. Kabori and Thomason will operate wide. Then it's a question really as to whether it's Rathbone or O'Brien who partner Sheaf in central midfield, and Windass and either Rathbone or O'Brien will then play off Kiefer Moore in attack. Andy, your reflections on that selection?
Yeah, not surprising really. I thought Windass came on and affected the game on Tuesday night, and so I'm not surprised he starts. He was really lively at the top end of the pitch and created a couple of opportunities for our players. And I think the rest of them have done themselves justice in play, and you can't leave Ollie Rathbone out of the team at the moment, because he's the one with the fire in his belly at the moment and scoring goals, so not surprised. And then Smith and Moore, they're pretty much flick-flacking at the minute between games and picking and choosing which one suits which opponent really. So, and he'll be looking to get back on the score sheet. He's not scored since Boxing Day, so not really surprised, but all of them will be gunning to win at home again and get that back to winning ways.
Well, just before we came on air this afternoon for Match Day Live, I had the opportunity to catch up with Phil Parkinson and get his thoughts ahead of today's game. Well, Phil, 8 days on from facing Ipswich in the Cup, back here on league duty, but as expected, Kieran McKenna making lots of changes and reverting to his league starting 11. What sort of challenge are you expecting today from the Tractor Boys?
Yeah, very similar in terms of the way they set up, and when you say reverts to his league 11, I don't think it's been cast in stone. A lot of the lads who played against us on Friday have been in the team at times this season, so I don't think it's a complete played his second string team. It's just the lads he decided wanted to freshen up. So, but in terms of the way they play, very similar to how they set up last week and in the game down at their place.
4-2-3-1 has been Kieran McKenna's style this season, Phil, and you said impressed this week that regardless of the personnel, that was the system you're expecting to face. What opportunities might that give your side, and what threats will that bring?
Well, I mean, they build initially in a 4-2-3-1, then roll into a 3-4-3 with Clark coming in off the line, obviously Leif Davis playing almost as a wing back and Wes Burns on the other side pushing right on. So we kind of know what they roll into. In terms of for us, Leif Davis, a very attack-minded fullback, leave that side exposed, and I'm looking for Izza today to really give them problems down that side, him and Windass. And it's just a lot of the good stuff we did the other day in terms of good aggression and communication out possession, but good control and composure with the ball. We broke the lines with our passing, got our 10s in behind their midfield on numerous occasions, and of course that's what we'll be looking to do again.
Windass comes in, as does Moore. Smith and Broadhead drop into the bench. What's your thinking there, Phil?
Yeah, I thought Windass and Ollie Rathbone did really well in the game on Friday. Josh obviously got his goal. And Keith, I thought, was very good when he came on the other day, and just a bit of freshness as well. But equally, really pleased with Keith's contribution when he came on. I feel he's really chomping at the bit today.
Wrexham manager Phil Parkinson giving us his thoughts ahead of today's game, both on his own team selection and his assessment of how Ipswich will likely set up. Ipswich in great form here at the moment, just one defeat in 9 games. They didn't have a midweek fixture, and of course for a lot of these players they didn't play last weekend either. Is that a good thing, do you think, for Kieran McKenna to be able to lean on that freshness, or is there a bit of a risk of rustiness?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, isn't it? It can be used in both ways, in the sense of, obviously Wrexham only make 2 changes, and a lot of these players played, some really good football on Tuesday night, so they'll be coming into it sort of buoyed with that bit of confidence and feeling sharp and feeling fresh. Whereas, like you say, some of these Ipswich boys, I look at the likes of Jack Clark, haven't played for 2 weeks, and on the other side of things, that's when you go, maybe they are a bit fresher as we get towards the end of this game, but also are they actually missing that little bit of sort of match sharpness, which it's always very difficult to replicate in training. But what you do see in front of you is a very strong Ipswich team, like we say, and that's no disrespect to the team we saw last Friday, but it's different, isn't it, in personnel? And I would argue it's a big upgrade as well when you look at some of those characters in that team today. When you just have a look at the stats, even, and it's there right in front of you. So it's going to be certainly a tough challenge for this Wrexham team today, but I think they'll be right up for it. I think they'll be sort of have that confidence, especially after that cup win. I think Phil Parkinson has to use that in his favour, almost as Kieran McKenna will have to try not to mention it and say it's just one to forget.
Let's have a little look around the fixtures today in the Sky Bet Championship, because a busy Saturday programme today. We've of course got the usual selection of lunchtime fixtures, and there was one played last night, which was the Lancashire Derby, where Blackburn managed to secure victory with a last-minute winner over Preston North End by 1-0. So that was last night's game, as Blackburn continue to try and force their way away from relegation under Michael O'Neill. He's won the first 2 matches that he's been in charge, the Irishman. The matches today so far: Hull City losing at home to QPR. Stoke have just equalised against Leicester. Leicester were winning that one 2-1. Swansea 1 up on Bristol City, and Coventry looking good at the Hawthorns against struggling West Bromwich Albion. The 3 o'clockers: Middlesbrough facing Oxford, Millwall facing Portsmouth, Norwich have got Birmingham, Southampton against Charlton. It's Watford Derby, and of course here it is Wrexham against Ipswich Town, as just for a change in this wonderful British winter it starts to rain again at the Stoke Kairas. Looking around those fixtures today, it does look at least, Mia, like Sheffield Wednesday will get a stay of execution for another week, because if West Brom had beaten Coventry in that match, Sheffield Wednesday would have been mathematically relegated today, which is an extremely rare event to have a team relegated as early as February, but it looks like they're at least going to get another week.
Yeah, and that's something they can sort of use in their favour, and try and just last that extra bit of time. But already look at some of those results. They're big, especially when you look in terms of where Wrexham are sat as well. And even last night, Preston losing late on to Blackburn, that can only help Wrexham in their favours. Trying to just cling on to get as close to those playoff spots as they can. And just looking, I think Stoke scored pretty late on in that game against Leicester. Look at the likes of Leicester and West Brom at the moment. You've got to worry for them, I think, especially Portsmouth got another big result a few days ago. Obviously,
winning at Charlton.
They're coming here on Tuesday night, so it's really heating up as much as we've spoken about it. Around the playoff areas and above, also right down at the bottom as well.
Let's have a look at the league table then as we go into today's fixtures, because Wrexham find themselves just outside of those playoff places. Derby County sitting in 6th on goal difference as we start today's games. So Wrexham in 7th position will have the opportunity with a victory or potentially even a draw to go back ahead of Derby County, and just goal difference, as I mentioned, separating Wrexham from a place in the top 6. Ipswich there in 5th position, but with 2 games in hand, Andy, on Middlesbrough in 2nd, and just those 7 points behind. Kieran McKenna's men clearly will be of a view that automatic promotion remains a realistic objective.
Yeah, absolutely, and one of the games against Portsmouth, I think, as well. So they'll be hopeful that if they win those 2 games, and they are right in amongst it, and Coventry had a brilliant result against Middlesbrough on Monday night, which has put them back on track, and then winning again today. So they could be out of sight, but from 6th to 16th, you're talking 6 points. And so even if you're that low down in the league, 16th, you're still thinking, we have a couple of good, decent victories here. We are right back in it. And, you know, the most consistent teams around that, in the middle of that table, will be the ones that creep up and surprise a few. And hopefully it'll be us.
Here's hoping. Portsmouth next, as Mia mentions, on Tuesday night. Back-to-back home games for Wrexham. Well, of course, last Friday it was all about the FA Cup here, and today's opposition were vanquished. Mia, we can have a little look on screen now, remind ourselves of Josh Windas's winner on Friday night. How would you categorise that Wrexham performance looking back?
Yeah, I think it was just a case of sort of getting the job done. Listen, like I said earlier, I don't think Ipswich were great that night, but I thought Wrexham were. I thought they had some really good moments in that game, and this was probably obviously the biggest highlight. I thought Ryan Longman could have actually could walk away from that game with his head held really high, probably feeling about 10 feet tall because of his performance that night, just jumping straight back into the side and playing really well. And I think that's something, we spoke about it that night, about his role, could actually be very big as we now enter the final stages of this season, especially obviously Kakache picking up that injury again. We're not too sure what the sort of time frame on that's going to be. And we spoke about it earlier about George Thomason. Obviously he's playing his third game in a row again tonight, I think at left wing back, and could that be somewhere where Ryan Longman's going to have to be utilised, because we haven't necessarily got that great amount of depth in that area. So yeah, I think it was a really positive night, and obviously the draw makes it look probably even a bit better as well.
Just going to come on to that. Andy, what were your reflections and thoughts when you saw Chelsea come out the hat?
Yeah, what a great draw for one. Joey Jones springs right into my mind straight away after, and Mickey Thomas, obviously, with their histories with both clubs. It'll be a fantastic night. We've got a lot of games to play before then, so let's get full focus. And I'm sure Phil Parkinson has mentioned that to the boys, that yes, it's going to be a brilliant occasion. This place will be bouncing, but we have to make sure that we stay in and around it, because it's not about the FA Cup, it's about getting out this league that we are prioritising now. It'll be a brilliant occasion. Really looking forward to having it. But they have two really tough games before it. They've got Arsenal, they've got PSG potentially after it as well in the Champions League. So their lowest of priorities will be coming here and playing us, I would have thought, out the 4 games around it. And so there might be, you just never know, and that's the beauty of the FA Cup, right?
Absolutely is. Let's have a quick look at the draw for the 5th round of the FA Cup. We'll of course be back here on Matchday Live for that match against Chelsea, which will take place on Saturday, March the 7th, with a 5:45 kickoff here. Fulham facing Southampton, Port Vale or Bristol City, that was postponed from last weekend, facing Sunderland. Newcastle against Manchester City, enticing all Premier League battle. Leeds United against vastly improving Norwich City. Mansfield, FA Cup giant killers in the previous round against Burnley. Well, they've got the ultimate reward, facing Arsenal, currently leading the Premier League and the team who've won the FA Cup more than any other. Wolves against Liverpool, Wrexham against Chelsea, we know, and an all-London battle. East faces West, West Ham United against Brentford. But as Andy says, the focus is very much on the league between now and then, starting this afternoon in this match against Ipswich Town. And we've got the chance now to have a look at a key matchup this afternoon. It's Nathan Broadhead for Wrexham against Jack Clark, who Mia has already mentioned as a dangerous player for Ipswich Town. Broadhead, of course, was an Ipswich player last season before his move to North Wales in the summer. Jack Clark coming through at Leeds and then starring for Sunderland before joining the Tractor Boys. Let's just touch on Clark before we move on to Broadhead, Mia. What sort of threat do you expect to see from him today?
Yeah, he's a really good player. I've been really impressed with him this season. I think, he's come into Ipswich and maybe didn't necessarily have the start he wanted to in terms of their 2 best players are both naturally left wingers in him and Philogene. But he's really taken his opportunity since Philogene picked up that MCL injury. And, part of that I was quite surprised to see, looking at his stats and his minutes. I think since November, he's managed to get back-to-back games for the first time since back in August, and that's because McKenna's trying to balance 2 of his best players playing in that same position. But what he has done, Jack Clark, this year is really adapted his game really well, so he can play across that front 3, whether it's left wing in the 10 or right wing, and that's something he's really good at, obviously cutting in from the left or on his favoured side on the right. So he's a real threat. I think Phil Parkinson touched on it. That sort of battle on that side of the pitch today is going to be really interesting, especially with someone like Leif Davis in behind him. Them 2 link up really well, especially going forward.
And Nathan Broadhead, Andy, one of the aspects of his play that I think Wrexham have certainly enjoyed this season and the fans have enjoyed is his ability to assist goals, and we can catch up with a few of those now, because that has certainly been a facet of his play, playing in that number 10 role off either Moore or Smith, that we've seen increasingly from him once he found his stride a few weeks into the season.
Yeah, I think looking at those stats, I think only half of his games have been starts, so you've still got to give him a little bit of leeway with the numbers that he's putting up. But once he got into his stride, that big maybe £7.5 million price tag on his shoulders a little bit, felt it a little bit for the start, but once he gets going, he's just got a brilliant eye for a pass. He carries the ball so well, he finds brilliant pockets, and he's so hard to mark at times. He's not the quickest, do you know what I mean, but he still travels really well, he still covers ground, and he's always looking to hurt a team ahead of him rather than just keep the ball. It's not about that, it's about playing his mate in, and can he make an assist or get a shot off or some sort of end product off it. And he's been great since he's come back in, and that little niggle maybe put him back a little bit, but he's certainly back fit. He was really good in the first half on Tuesday night.
And the other dimension of Broadhead's play that has become obvious statistically this season is his ability to drive forward and make yards himself. And we can have a look here at how he compares to some of the other Wrexham players in this territory, because this has been an aspect of his game that we've also seen coming through as well. You can see the two wing backs there, Kabore and Longman, and the two centre backs, Cleworth and Hyam, all of whom like to get the ball and either bring it out of defence or, in the case of the wing backs, make progress in wide areas. But it's Broadhead who's carried the biggest distances, and we can have a little look now, Mia, at some of those highlights of him doing that. Again, that ability for Broadhead to turn defence into attack has come through here.
Yeah, and he's so gifted in these sort of areas, like Andy said, sometimes just dropping deep. We see it with Josh Windass as well, just trying to get on that ball sometimes in certain games where we're just not able, to have a high amount of possession. But this is where he's so good, just driving it at his man. He more often than not, he does make the right decision. Maybe sometimes he could be critiqued for holding on to it that little bit too long. But he's just so good at it. It's just like he's so desperate to always go forward. Very rarely you'll see him turn around and make that backwards pass. And that's what Wrexham need in this side, especially on difficult days when maybe they are, struggling to get forward. And he's got that in abundance, and he's just got that confidence, and he's got that little bit of magic as well, which I really like about him.
As he moves with it, you can see defences collapsing on him, and so bodies get attracted to him because they've got to stop him at some point. They've got to engage him, which enables him to then use the space that he's created from that. If he can get his pass away, that gives his teammate a little bit more space on the ball. And yeah, I love it when he drives with it. Also, it gives your defenders a little bit of a breather when he's got it and he can drive with it for just a couple of seconds. It enables them to push up the pitch, get up the pitch, and have a little bit of a breather too.
Nathan Broadhead named on the bench today by Phil Parkinson, but we would fully anticipate to see him at some point, probably in the second half, as Parkinson looks to freshen up his options in the latter stages of the game. Jack Clark, a starter today for Ipswich. We expect him to start on the left-hand side of three advanced midfielders. Well, in midweek, Ipswich had a breather, but there was no such respite for Wrexham. They made the long trip down to the southwest to face Bristol City, another side with playoff ambitions. It was an entertaining night at Ashton Gate. Here's a reminder of how this one played out.
Inquires after Morsey's health, and away we go. Wrexham kicking towards the Bristol City fans, and instantly Doyle going long. It's cleared. Fakes to go outside, then stops the ball and pulls it back. Thomason, first time cross, headed by Doyle, well held by the keeper. It was central, luckily for Vitek, but a good pace on it. Yeah, it's a little clumsy by Cleworth, but I'd be very disappointed if that one was given, as now is Bristol City coming forwards again. O'Brien came back quickly to cover, dangerous cross. Oh, and Rees was unsighted by Doyle, who jumped at the far post. Find him early, so he holds on to it sensibly, and Doyle is again up, feeding us to the edge of the area. O'Brien back to him. Doyle, Rathbone's way to run. It's deflected to Rathbone, and he scores! Ollie Rathbone strikes again. Left-footed finish. Good cross. It was deflected into his path, and he ripped it into the roof of the net. And Ollie Rathbone continues his prolific season. And he did well with that initial shot, didn't he? Getting down low to his left and pushing it wide. Oh, his Loyal's caught in possession by Horvat. Driving forwards, Armstrong free outside him. He fills him in, right side the box, drills a great goal. That's a superb goal by Armstrong. And wow, What a contrast with the first half. Tight angle, smashed it into the far top corner. The angle wasn't promising, but didn't bother him at all. Dispossessed, but reacts really quickly and finds a good ball for Moore. Moore can open it up now. Thomason and Akers has space to the left. 4 players inside him. Thomason's cross is early for O'Brien, nicked away from him. Kabore back in, O'Brien flicks it. Yes, it's in! Wrexham take the lead! O'Brien is delighted. I think that came off a defender last.
I think you're right, Mark.
It comes back to him, and he stands one up to the edge of the area. Easy for Cleworth to head clear. Attacked well by Bird, who works it wide now then. Chance for Knight to cross. He drives the ball back to the edge of the area. What a goal! Unbelievable goal by Bird. Well, you just can't legislate for that. It was a good spell of pressure. But a volley from the edge of the area went in off the bottom of the bar. That is a sensational goal. Bristol City won it back again. We've had the 7 added minutes. They're striding on once more. The ball is overpassed though for Williams, who can't keep it in. And the referee blows the final whistle. What a game that was. Bristol City 2, Wrexham 2.
All square in the end then at Ashton Gate in midweek, but Wrexham, I'm sure, the more disappointed of the two sides as they sat down in the dressing rooms afterwards. That wonderful late volley from Max Bird ultimately spoiling Wrexham's night. But Mia, the first half performance as good as we've seen away this season?
Yeah, I certainly think so. I was really racking my brain trying to think if there was one, maybe that was better that I could think of, but in terms of dominance, I don't think there is. And I thought Bristol City were very poor in that first half, but I don't think that allows you to really take anything away from Wrexham, because I thought they were superb from minute one, really, in terms of their shape in possession, just so calm, composed on the ball, obviously getting the goal as well, which sometimes when we have been dominant in games we haven't actually managed to do in terms of actually those chance creations. So it was really good, and that obviously then forced Struber's hand a little bit to make the changes that he did at half time. And then sadly the game just turned a little bit in that second half, and again you have to give credit to Bristol City in that sense. And as well, to say it was 2 brilliant goals, I think the XG for Bristol was something like 0.3, which kind of shows how good the quality of those goals were, and how Wrexham couldn't really do much about them. So yeah, it's one, I think there will be a bit of frustration there to only come away with the point, especially after leading, but I think it's also one you look back on and you go, what, maybe it could have actually gone the other way as well. So you have to take that against a team in a similar position to you in the league.
So many positives from that first half. The control that we had, I felt that something could be pointed at Phil Parkinson's teams a little bit, because we called Parky ball, long ball, etc. But in that first half we just looked so controlled in possession. Our positions were good, distances were great, and we were really cute with balls coming out. We just didn't hook them back in. It was just keep possession and we'll just rotate the ball, and I just thought we dominated that so far. And we could have probably lost the game at the end, but that was the first time I've seen us really control a half of football by such a big margin.
A draw then at Ashton Gate in midweek. Wrexham having come into that game with 4 successive wins on the road, but a 5th game unbeaten, still a very decent outcome. But what of today then? Ipswich Town in town, Kieran McKenna in the dugout. Let's have a little look at him in comparison with Phil Parkinson as we look ahead to today's fixture, because McKenna, one of the very highest rated young managers in the English game. Ipswich stuck with him despite relegation from the Premier League last year. It was a difficult season back at the highest level, but McKenna absolutely getting Ipswich going again this season. And as you can see on that on-screen graphic, these are the win percentages of the top 5 managers currently managing in the Championship, and the win percentage looks at their performance as manager of that club regardless of the league that they've been in. So Phil Parkinson's 58.1, including National League days right up to the current day. McKenna's obviously took a bit of a hit in that Premier League season. Chris Davis enjoying the fruits of that highly successful League One season for Birmingham City last year, finding things a bit tougher this year in the Championship. But McKenna, Andy, very much one of this young breed of English coach who came through at Manchester United, very forward thinking, very highly rated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm really pleased that, one, Ipswich were desperate to keep him in the summer when they did come out of the Premier League, but he's decided to stick with it as well. I think that's important for a manager. He's only 3 years into his managerial career, and is still finding his way, and he's had a real big setback with the Premier League and the way that it was, but he'll have learnt so much from that, and he's got out of the Championship already, so that's a real big plus. So to stick with it and stay with them and go, no, we'll go back and we'll do it again, I think that's a real positive and probably the biggest signing for them to keep him in the summer.
This isn't, of course, the only big game in North Wales this weekend, because tomorrow at Bangor City Stadium, Wrexham women have their opportunity to collect their first piece of silverware under Jenny Sugarman. They take part in the Adran Trophy final against arch rivals Cardiff City. That match, a 5 o'clock kickoff, and we already know we've got 500 Wrexham fans who've taken up the club's offer of free tickets to make the journey up the A55, and 2 complimentary buses are already full. Tomorrow, Liz Craven will be the player between the sticks for Wrexham, trying to defy the Cardiff attack. And we had the opportunity recently to catch up with Liz and find out a little bit more about her footballing journey.
Going to football, I think I had a lot of boys that were friends in primary school, so I think that they played football in the playground, so I kind of just played with them. And then they played for a local grassroots boys team, so I pestered my parents to let me join, and then they let me join, and then it sort of started from there. I started as a striker actually, and then one time the team goalkeeper wasn't there, so I was just really enthusiastic. I was like, yeah, I put my hand up, yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, yeah, I really like this. I think I made a save that wasn't even that good, but at the time I was like, wow, that was the best save anyone's ever made in their life. And I was like, yeah, I'll do this more often. I think playing in goal is a really hard position to play. I don't want to say the hardest, because obviously it's a little bit different, but I think it is a lot of pressure. I think we have sort of less actions and less touches in the game, and the ones that we do have are really important. So obviously mistakes are highlighted, and I think that a lot of the time you're sort of on your own in that sense, that you train differently to the rest of the team. So you've got to be really mentally resilient to sort of get through different challenges they have in the game and in training. Leadership is a really crucial part of being a goalkeeper, because you can see everything that's going on the pitch, so you're always instructing, whether it's your defenders, midfielders, even strikers. You've got to set up for set pieces and stuff, so yeah, I think you've got to understand a lot of people's positions to help them out, because sometimes they can't see if someone's running off their shoulder or a pass they should potentially make, that you can sort of help them with that. When I'm not doing football, my other job is football coaching, and I do performance analysis as well. I quite like teaching how to be a goalkeeper, and I think that helps me reflect on my game as well, which is nice. I think knowing that I've been successful is probably when I think I've improved, or I've done the steps to improve, because I know that every day is not going to be the same, and you're not going to make improvements that are just going to go up. So I think that knowing that I've done things, it hasn't gone exactly how I wanted it to. State doing this or whatever it is, at least if I've done the steps to try and get where I need to be, then I know that it's been successful. I think the most important thing is to have fun with it, because if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then you're not going to want to put the extra work in that is sort of required to get to the highest level. So number one is probably enjoyment, but also number two is probably consistency. I think that there's a lot of flashy things that you can do, which people will try and sell you that, oh, this will help you improve, this will help you improve. But I think if you nail the basics and be consistent with it, then I think that'll take you really far.
Wrexham goalkeeper Liz Craven, who will be part of Jenny Sugarman's team tomorrow for the Adran Trophy final against Cardiff City. That one a 5 o'clock kickoff. Mia, it was always going to be tough following Del Morgan at Wrexham, but Liz Craven has certainly continued that goalkeeping legacy.
Yeah, I think so. She's been, brilliant since she's, sort of come into the side, and she's a player who makes big saves in big moments, and that's what you need when you're, fighting for multiple competitions and, in a race with a team like Cardiff. So she's come in and done ever so well. So I just hope that continues for her.
Big game obviously tomorrow, the first chance to get silverware under Jenny Sugarman. Both teams chasing trebles because they've got a cup tie ahead of them as well, and they're battling it out to be top of the table. What sort of step change do you think it could give the club if Wrexham could win that game tomorrow?
I think it's huge, and on multiple levels. I think it takes a bit of pressure off them because they've obviously, invested a lot into that side now, and I think people are starting to look at them and go, you really should be winning silverware pretty much year in, year out now. So that sort of attitude has changed. Plus, I think obviously it's Cardiff on all fronts that they're sort of competing against. So if they can get that win against them tomorrow, the amount of confidence that would give this Wrexham side is pretty unbelievable. So I think the recent transfer market activity, they all look to be really impressive signings, and you've just got to hope that does give them the edge. And I think tomorrow could be, a real good marker and a sort of, start of a new chapter really of the women's side.
Andy, when you've got a team that you keep coming up against, and I guess Wrexham a bit had this with Notts County and perhaps Birmingham last season, where you're constantly nipping at each other's tails, can you almost become too obsessed with each other? Because at the moment, Cardiff and Wrexham are playing each other in every competition here and are clearly the strongest two sides in the competition.
We had Luton and Fleetwood, etc. went in back in the day, so not really. You're desperate for them to just get beat, because it's so nip and tuck, and one game could be the difference between these teams. You're just desperate for them, but they just keep going, don't they? Both teams are just relentless with their winning and stuff, and so I think it's going to be a great game, isn't it? Tomorrow, you hope for a really good game and a really positive outcome for Wrexham, and best of luck to the women tomorrow, because hopefully a bit of silverware. Bring that back to the Kairas, please.
Be the first time since Mia was part of the squad promoted from the Adran North. Here's hoping tomorrow. So the women's team are flying at the moment, the men's team on the edges of the playoffs, but they're not the only two sides representing the club with distinction. Wrexham's Power Chair team are this season taking part in the North West Development League for the first time, and they've had some great results, including beating Manchester City 6-0 in November. Power Chair is played by teams of 4. It's a non-contact sport. The two halves are 20 minutes each. And a few weeks ago, a few well-known faces from the club got their opportunity to learn more about what it's like to be a Power Chair footballer.
I've been told I'm not allowed to say, so
The only thing I can think about is would be new chairs, but I don't know. Or it could be nothing and it's just been surprising or chocolate. Yeah, that would take amazing. That's unbelievable. That is amazing.
Yeah, I think it sort of brings the club together, doesn't it? The stuff that we do in the community, and then bring in your kind of superpower of your players and your manager across to show that they see the difference that we make and they want to be involved in it is just really, really special.
Played a couple of games, we did some relays, little team events, which was lovely. But just that interaction and seeing the joy that the boys have got from these new cars is outstanding.
Yeah, it's great to be down here to look at the Power Chair football today, and obviously the new chairs the team's got. It's very technical. Looks like they have to do a lot of training to get used to the rules, but also the new chairs. But yeah, really pleased and good to see kind of the club through the 50-50 draw has been able to help them with these new chairs.
Mae'n feddwl bod dim I fi, cos da ni wedi bod yn gweithio'n galad I wneud siŵr bod ni'n gallu gael y gadeiriau yma I fod yn barod at y gemau mwyaf sy'n mynd ymlaen yn y competitions hefyd, so da ni'n gallu treinio'n well rhan I fod ar y lefel I bod yn mwy competitive yn y games ni wedi chwarae yn barod.
2, 1, go.
Yeah, of course, it's massive. I think the community is huge. That's what gives us energy, and it's always great for us to give back. Anytime we can, it's always great. But like I say, you have great fun doing it and seeing the joy that it brings to people, and the experiences we get from it as well is really good.
Oh, massive. It means that we can progress as individuals, but also as a team in the league. The standard's very different on the Sundays we play because of the new style chairs that they use. So practicing with an old style has always been difficult to get the tempo right and to get the techniques right on the different types of passes and shots. So them having the opportunity to train how they want to play is massive for them.
The Wrexham AFC Power Chair team thriving in their first season in the North West Development League, and they've got their first opportunity to face international opposition when this Tuesday Heracles Almelo come across from the Netherlands to play them at Wrexham University, just next door to the Stoke Kai-Ras. Mia, I know you've had a chance to catch up with Will Rees, one of Wrexham's players at a recent Wrexham Foundation event. What did you learn from Will?
Yeah, a lot. I think, it's really fascinating, the Powerball chair stuff, watching it. And you can see, I know it's no contact.
It looks so much fun.
It looks a lot of
Honestly,
fun. I know it's no contact, but you certainly, it's a bit of a risk, isn't it? I'm just thinking, wow, I can barely drive a car. I think I'd struggle with one of them. But no, Will, absolutely lovely lad, and a top player as well. One of the most important players in that Power Chair team. And speaking to him a few weeks ago, he was saying about how they're desperate for these new chairs, and how that would make such a difference. So brilliant to see that the 50-50 draw and the foundation have provided that, because that's invaluable to those lads, and you can see how much they love it. I know Will said about, and his family were saying about how prior to the Power Chair football he wasn't getting out of the house much, out of his room that much, and it's been a massive social thing for him, and that's lovely to hear. And I think it's one of the many things that this football club, as well as it's done on here for the last few years, it's also done so many things like that so well as well.
A lot of people, Andy, are in teams at work, whatever you do for a living, whether you work in an office, a factory, a hospital, wherever it might be. But there is something unique and special, isn't there, about being in a sporting team? You've obviously done it for many years as a player. What can it give you in terms of adrenaline and a lift as a person to be part of a sporting team and in that dressing room prior to a match starting?
Yeah, it's a social, it's brilliant for having new friends, getting you out of the house, like Mir says, and giving you an opportunity to go and be around people with similar interests to yourself, and being part of something is really important of in a social circle, and a health mentality, I suppose, if you like. But that adrenaline, that kick-off when you're coming up to kick-off, or in whatever sport it may be, that adrenaline buzz, that what it gives you to be part of something and to try and achieve something with each other as a group, there's nothing like it in my world, you know what I mean? And so that is what a brilliant thing. The foundation is going from strength to strength here, and it's giving opportunities to a lot of people that weren't getting those opportunities before.
And we wish Kyo Jones, the captain, and Josh Evans, the coach, and all the players all the very best with that match against Heracles Almelo on Tuesday. Just over 10 minutes before kick-off here today, Wrexham against Ipswich Town as the rain comes down again on the Stoke Kai-Ras. Max Cleworth is in the Wrexham backline again today. Recently picked up the accolade for the player who's made most appearances in the Phil Parkinson era. And Cleworth, product of the Wrexham Academy, of course, was on press conference duty this week, looking ahead to today's game.
And a different kind of test at the weekend against Ipswich. You're expecting a different game to the FA Cup one here a week ago?
Yeah, I think obviously they'll make a few changes. I think in terms of the way they play, I think it'll be fairly similar. They've got obviously one of the best squads in the league. There's a reason they were in the Premier League last year as well. So the squad's very good. I think they can make a lot of changes and be just as strong. So yeah, I'd imagine they'll make a few changes, but I think in terms of how they play and sort of the intensity of the game, it'll be quite similar.
And in terms of Ipswich as well, you played Coventry, you played Middlesbrough, all the sides at the top. I mean, where do you think they sit in terms of a marker for yourselves? You've had 2 games now without even conceding a goal against them this season.
Yeah, I think they're certainly right in amongst it with them. It's in some ways their quality that they can bring off the bench as well is probably just as good as anyone in the league, so if not the best. So I think that shows that's sort of a marker that we can try and get to as well. But yeah, I think they're a top team. Obviously well-established club, and we're in the Premier League last year. So yeah, to test ourselves against these kind of teams and players is a good sign of where the club's direction again.
And you've been here over the past few years with the manager at this stage of the season where things kind of get ramped up after Christmas and the January transfer window as well. Does it feel like at February onwards it really kick-starts and things start to build a bit?
Yeah, I think certainly, if you look over the last few years, that's when things have definitely sort of ramped up the pace, but I don't think that's somewhat, that's more outside noise. I think, the gaffer's very good at sort of keeping everyone's feet on the ground and sort of being realistic. So, I don't think much changes from our point of view. You just focus it on sort of game at a time and week at a time, and you see where you end up come the end of the season.
Against Millwall, Matt, you become the player who's made more appearances under Phil Parkinson. Another little accolade for you.
Yeah. Obviously, something that's quite nice. I think there's been a lot of lads who've sort of been trusted under the gaffer, and to sort of be one of them's sort of a nice thing to have. So yeah, it's not something I don't think I've looked at too much, but yeah, it's a nice thing.
I know you don't take place in the side for granted, but obviously you've been a regular to be able to hit that milestone.
Yeah, I think certainly over the last couple of years managed to play a lot. I think at the start when the gaff came in, was a little bit in and out, and that's part of having the big squads, which we've always had. As you said, you don't take your place for granted, and people can come in and do just as good a job. But yeah, certainly just try to keep working hard, and obviously thankful for the gaff for putting his trust in me.
And lastly, quite rightly, there's some big league games before Chelsea, but that's another unbelievable night for the club though, isn't it? To get a Premier League giant. You've had some big FA Cup days over the years, but to take Chelsea come to the racecourse, it's captured the imagination.
Yeah, I think that's what you sort of hope for in the FA Cup, is to get a big side sort of either at home or away. So, obviously Chelsea's a massive club, one of the biggest clubs in the world. So for us to be able to test ourselves against them, we've been able to sort of do it in pre-season, but it's never quite the same, is it, in terms of having a real competitive game. So it'll be really good to sort of test ourselves, and hopefully one that fans can enjoy.
Wrexham centre-back Max Cleworth looking ahead to this afternoon's battle with Ipswich Town, which is 7 minutes or so away from starting here at the Stoke Kairas. Cleworth keeping his place this afternoon in a team that shows 2 changes from manager Phil Parkinson from the 11 deployed from the start at Ashton Gate in mid-week. Nathan Broadhead is replaced by Josh Windass, and up top Kiefer Moore is in for Sam Smith. Both of those players take their places on the bench, where Zach Viner is included in a Wrexham 18 for the first time since his arrival in the January transfer window. Well, don't forget, today you can, of course, have your face appear on the fan wall. That might be inside the stadium here at Wrexham, or it could be on our holding slate, which you see during the periods of play here on Matchday Live. The QR code appears on the screen right now. That's the one you need. We'd love you to send us a selfie of where you are watching from, whether that is in the stadium, in the close vicinity around Wrexham, or perhaps you're watching Matchday Live from a far-flung location. We would love to know where you are and to see you appear on our fan wall. This match, of course, a 3 o'clock UK time kick-off. Wrexham are back in action on Tuesday night when Portsmouth are the visitors here. We'll, of course, be on air with Matchday Live 50 minutes before kick-off, as ever, for the visit of Pompey. So that's back-to-back home games for Wrexham, both today and Tuesday night against Portsmouth. Sky Bet Championship action then ahead as Phil Parkinson's team try and do what most other teams have struggled to do this season, and that is to stop Ipswich Town. Kieran McKenna's side have lost just one of their last 9 matches. They are knocking on the doors of automatic promotion out of the Championship, and only Cedric Kipre is retained from the 11 who were deployed by Kieran McKenna last Friday in the FA Cup clash. This is very much McKenna's chosen league format and personnel for this afternoon's game. So a stiff test ahead for a Wrexham team who have enjoyed good form themselves in recent weeks, with 6 wins from their last 10 matches, picking up 20 points in the process. Players are out, as you can see on screen. We'll be back at half-time here, same link on YouTube for Matchday Live, to give you all the first half analysis and reaction, where Andy Morell and Mia Roberts will be joined by Tony Humes, once of Ipswich Town and Wrexham captain in that famous FA Cup run in 1997. Tony will be joining us at half-time, so we hope you will be too. We look forward to seeing you in about 50 minutes' time. Bye for now.
substitute for Wrexham leaving the field, number 18, Ben Sheep. He was replaced by number 15, George Dobson. Goal scorer for Ipswich in the 20th minute, number 43, Anis Manetti. So number 37 fit, number 10, Josh Windus. Mae pedwar swyddog wedi dynodi bydd yna lleafswm o 4 munud ychwanegol. The fourth officials indicated there'll be a minimum of 4 minutes, and in time 4 minutes. Goal scorer for Ipswich in the 48th minute, number 31, Ewan Alford. shout-outs. Firstly, a warm welcome to Margaret Unsworth. A happy 40th birthday to Liam, aka Pencil Craftsman. Well done for everything you do for the town. We're so proud of you. Lots of love, Mam and me. Happy 60th birthday to Judith. Lots of love from Anne Harrod and all the Bamford team. Monty Driffield turned 7 on the 22nd of February. Happy birthday from all his family and friends. Happy 13th birthday to Elan Parry, Wrexham AFC's youngest goalkeeper. Happy birthday to Harrison, who's 6 years old today. Happy birthday to Luca. Lots of love from Dad, Mum, Theo and Grandad.
Half-time here at the Stoke Kairas, a highly entertaining opening 45 minutes. It's Wrexham 2, Ipswich Town 2. It has been a breathless opening period. Wrexham taking the lead in the 6th minute, flying out of the blocks, and from Josh Windas's flick on, Kiefer Moore getting away on the left-hand side and slamming a superb finish past Christian Walton. It wasn't long though before Ipswich equalised. Anis Memeti, who'd made a cameo appearance on Matchday Live before the game, practising his corners. He was quickest to react when Arthur Okonkwo couldn't push Jack Taylor's effort far enough away. But Wrexham were back in front in the 37th minute. Windass this time the recipient of Moore's delivery. His header couldn't be kept off the line. Wrexham back into the lead. It looked like they'd be taking that lead into the interval, but other ideas had Ipswich Town, and even Athon with a very nice finish deep into injury time at the end of the first half levelled matters at the break. Wrexham 2, Ipswich Town 2 at the interval in a rainy, grey racecourse afternoon where football has provided all the sunshine. Andy Morell and Mia Roberts alongside me, as is Tony Humes, formerly of Ipswich and of Wrexham, an Ipswich apprentice and then a Wrexham skipper who pulled on the red shirt over 200 times. Tony, thank you for joining us. Lovely to see you here. What did you make of the first half?
Fantastic start. Great start to the game by Wrexham, really on the front foot, and got after Ipswich, stopped them playing, and as you say, got that great start with the Kiefer Moore goal. Unbelievable strike. So they had the perfect start really, and you're just looking to them to take the game on, and they just sat off Ipswich a little bit. And they're a good team. They've got good players. Jack Clark, Wes Burns, Memeti, they're good players, and they just sat off them a little bit, allowed them back into the game, and I think they got the deserved equaliser. And then again, Wrexham picked up again, took the game to them again, and got the goal, but then sat off, and it's just been a little bit just sat off Ipswich a little bit and allowed them to play, and they've got quality, so it's no surprise to see them scoring if they get the ball in around the box.
Mia, we thought beforehand we were in for a treat this afternoon. It's certainly proved that way, hasn't it? Two informed teams at the right end of the championship going blow for blow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Wrexham will be really frustrated. When you look at the two goals, I know the second one it's a really good flick and bit of quality from Jack Taylor, I think it is, and then really good finish from Athon. But I think the style in which of play in which it comes from, I think Cleworth just steps out and leaves that space. Kabore just doesn't quite acknowledge that there is that big of a gap, and it just allows Athon to just take up that bit of space. And that first one, obviously, I think Arthur Okonkwo will be really frustrated with himself to just not get a hold of that. And then it's just a little bit unfortunate, but I think you've got to give credit to both sides. I think they've both gone for it in moments. I think Wrexham, like Tony says, started ever so well and have played really well, and maybe it's just been that little flip of a coin in terms of winning that first 50-50, that first contact of the ball, which has just then allowed Ipswich to have that springboard to then come forward. But no, listen, I think it's there for both sides. It's just potentially in the second half who wants it more and who's got more in the tank.
Andy, we said before the match that Sam Smith had started 7 of the last 10 games. Do you think that might be partly what has powered Kiefer Moore into such an incredible opening 45? Because that's as good a 45 minutes, perhaps, as he's had for Wrexham.
Yeah, I think he's done brilliantly, and it's a little bit different to him playing that one on the shoulder, and he's just running that channel. I had so much joy down that left-hand side with Thomas and O'Brien, Rathbone in that area. We really want him in the box, heading it in rather than out there, but this seems to be the plan today, is to just play him down the sides, and Windass has got to make the box off the back of it, and so has the others, just to make bodies in there, if you like. But I think he's been excellent, and I'm absolutely sure of it, that he's like, no, I've scored 10 already in the league here, I'm not giving my place up. too easy, and he certainly proved it today. It's a fantastic finish, that first.
I was just going to say, from a striker's point of view, Andy, because he still had a lot to do, didn't he? A cushioned header from Windass, he gets away, wide left in the box, but it's on his less preferred foot, and to slam it home with such power into the top corner for his 13th of the season, terrific finish.
Yeah, I think it's had his mind made up, if you like, because there's nobody in the box with him to pass to, so, right, I'll just have a crack here, and he doesn't actually lace it, he sort of firm side foots it right on the roof of the net, gives the keeper no chance. It's a brilliant finish.
And Windass's goal this afternoon, Mia, taking him into double figures for the season. It looked for a moment like that attack might have come to an end, but a good ball in from Moore, and Windass getting enough purchase to ensure that the two players on the line couldn't get it clear.
Yeah, and again, like Andy said, on that left-hand side is where, so prominently Wrexham had so much of the ball in that first half. And, I agree with Andy. I thought in moments that actually restricted us a little bit, because it meant there was actually no one in that box. I think Kabore, Phil Parkinson will be saying to him, you've got to make that back post run, you've got to get there, because at the moment it's just a little bit too easy on that turnaround. But Josh Windass finds himself in that little bit of space, and it's a really good ball in from Kiefer Moore. He keeps it measured, keeps it precise, and a really good header. Leif Davis, I think, tries to get that touch on it, almost gets away with it, but no, again, a good response to obviously the equaliser, but then just couldn't quite hold on to it into the half time.
Andy Meir, thank you very much for now. We'll let you have 5 minutes off before you get back on co-commentary duty. We'll see you at full time. Andy Morell and Mia Roberts, as ever, joining us on Match Day Live. But Tony, we've got the chance to catch up with you for a few minutes before the start of the second half. And of course, these two clubs close to your heart, born up in the northeast, but it was Ipswich Town who gave you your break as an apprentice in the early 80s, with a very famous manager at the helm at the time.
Yes, Sir Bobby Robson was manager at the time. It was just before he was joining England as their manager in 1982. And it was just at the end of pre-season, which I'd done it. I'd previously, as a schoolboy back in the northeast, I'd broke my leg in a school game. So I had to come down and prove my fitness down at Ipswich, which I'd been to for a couple of years as a schoolboy, kept coming back and was really hopeful, really positive of getting something. But, the broken leg set me back a little bit. And I was getting back to fitness, but I think the coaches were still unsure as to whether I was quite there to give permanent apprenticeship forms too. And Bobby Robson came back from the first team tour. I think they were away in Holland or somewhere, and it was that day he came into the Portman Road, into the ground, and I was just happened to pass him, and he asked me, "Have you signed those forms yet?" And I said, "No, I haven't, Sir Bobby. They're not sure about my fitness." And he just said, "Come here." Took me upstairs to the club secretary, the great, lovely Pat Godbold, and I signed it there and then. So it was it was great for me, and to have that done by Sir Bobby Robson was a memory I'll never forget.
Fantastic, Tony. And what was Ipswich like as a club to represent? Because you were there a few seasons, weren't you, before you came here under Brian Flynn?
Yeah, I was there. I was there in 1982 till 1992 when I came to Wrexham. So I had I had 10 years there. 4 years, obviously, part of my football development as an apprentice and as a young pro. But there was at that time there was great players: Terry Butcher, Russell Osman, Johnny Walk, Muren and Tyson, the great Dutch players.
Two Dutch midfielders,
Eric Gates,
wow.
Paul Mariner, Alan Brazil, George Burley. There was so much to learn from them, and I was lucky enough to, on a few occasions, have a training session with them, and just saw how quick it was, how physical they were. Even in those days, the game's moved on a hell of a lot now, but in those days you had to be physically strong, mentally strong, and it was a great place to be. With those players to look up to, and all international players. So it was a great learning curve for myself.
And then quite the contrast when you came here, of course, because Wrexham at the time were in what is now League Two, but you had some special moments here. We're going to have a look at a few of those on screen, including, of course, the famous cup run in '97, but a bit earlier than that, promotion from League Two and the chance to be part of a very special time at the club when that was achieved.
Yeah, when I came here, I met Brian Flynn, met Joey Jones, Kevin Reeves, and they sold me the club. Even though at the time the club wasn't in a great position, but they just beaten Arsenal in the FA Cup, so there was a high profile there. So and then the quality of the person of Brian, Joey and Kevin, it was a no-brainer for me to come and restart my career really, because I'd gone stale at Ipswich. I was out of contract at the end of the season, and I needed to be playing at that age. I was 26 when I came here. And luckily it worked really well. I had a fantastic time, you know, as you say, the first full season we got promotion. We started off the season not great, but by the end of it we were flying, and you know we were worthy promotion winners. And then going forward, we just seemed to gel and get better and better, and additions of players came in, made us, you know, we got a couple of good cup runs. In '95, I think it was Ipswich we beat here.
Yeah.
And then went on to play
Gary Bennett's penalty.
Gary Bennett's penalty last minute. And then we went to Man United, Old Trafford. What an experience that was, leading the team out. So that was it. You know, that was just great experiences, great memories. It was fantastic. And then, as you say, the cup run when we got to the quarter final in '97. So close, yet so far, but you know,
great win over Birmingham though. That fans always still remember that day. You scored, of course.
Yeah.
That day we've just seen that goal go through. And looking now, Tony. I mean, I know you live over in the Suffolk area, so you're living nearer Ipswich than Wrexham by some distance. But when you see the journey that the club's been on over the last few years, what's your perspective, having been here for so many years in the 90s?
I think it's just amazing. I think it's fantastic. I mean, it's a big club. When I was here and we got things moving, and Brian Flynn and Kev and Joey got things moving, and we got the right players in, and we had success. You know, this place we used to rock. You know, when we were doing well. So it's just brilliant what's been done now. The obviously the investment that's been put into the club, not only on the playing side, but the whole club as a whole. It's fantastic, and you just hope it keeps going from strength to strength, because it's a great place to be. When there's success, it's unbelievable for the people of North Wales. They always come out, they always support the team, and it's what they deserve, really. And it just hopefully it continues for a long time, which I'm sure it will, because of what's been done so far.
Well, Tony, fantastic to have you with us on Matchday Live today. Thank you so much for joining us. I can see the players are coming out behind us. Just before we let you go, final score prediction today?
Oh, God, could be anything, couldn't it, the way it's going? I mean, there haven't been that many clear-cut chances, and goalkeepers haven't made that many saves. But there's something in the air that might end up 4-3.
4-3.
4-3 on the red side, hopefully.
Tony Humes, former Wrexham captain, former Ipswich player for a decade, joining us on Matchday Live at half-time. The players are out. A second half lies in front of us, a fascinating 45 ahead. Wrexham 2, Ipswich 2 then at half-time. Please rejoin us at full-time, same link on YouTube for all the post-match reaction. We look forward to your company then. Bye for now.
Go
47th minute, Liverpool set the kicker. substitute for Wrexham in the field, number 12, Isa Gamore. He's been replaced by number 47, Brian Longley. And in the field, number 20, Ollie Rathbone. He's been replaced by number 33, Nathan Broadhead. Substitution for Ipswich, leaving the field, number 14, Jack Taylor. He's being replaced by number 6, Dan Neal. Leaving the field, number 7, Wes Burns. He's being replaced by number 20, Casey McAteer. Leaving the field, number 33, Anis Mametti. He's being replaced by number 32, Marcelino Nunes. Substitution for Ipswich, leaving the field number 31, Ian Adam. He was replaced by number 9, George Hurst. Substitution for Ipswich, leaving the file, number 5, Azamatasiwa. He has been replaced by number 29, Chuba Akpom. for Wrexham, leading the field number 10, Josh Windass, who's been replaced by number 26, Zach Biden. the 90th or 4th minute of whenever the fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 6 minutes added time. That's 6 minutes. Wrexham 5, Ipswich 3. Anyone at Stoke Cleworth, the official attendance at the Stoke Cleworth 10,610. A grateful thanks to all those 290 away fans. Thank you all for your fantastic support. We begin this our Stoke Cleworth ar y bedwerydd ar ugain o Chwefror yn erbyn Portsmouth. Gyrgyd gyntaf am chwarter I 8 o'r gloch. A reminder the next home game here at the Stoke Cleworth is on Tuesday the 24th when Portsmouth are the visitors for our Sky Bet Championship match, which kicks off at 7:45. Cymerchonol o dan y stadiwm gan dymuno siwr nesaf adre I bawb. A safe journey home to all supporters. Please do take care when leaving the stadium, and the club shop will be open for 30 minutes after full time. We'll see you again on the 24th. Not one bad.
Full time here at the Stoke Cleworth. What an incredible afternoon we have seen. It has finished Wrexham 5, Ipswich Town 3. An astonishing advert for the Sky Bet Championship. Wrexham coming out on top in this 8-goal thriller. If you weren't entertained by today's game at the Stoke Cleworth, then frankly you don't like football. It really was an astonishing exhibition from both teams, and Wrexham powering their way through in the end in the second half. 2-2 at half-time, of course. Cedric Kipray made it 3-2 to Ipswich early in the second half. A very neat first-time finish from the French centre-back. It looked at that time like it could be a difficult second 45 for Wrexham, but they found another gear, and George Thomason was the man who started that process. In the 65th minute, his left foot shot levelled matters at 3-3, played in beautifully by Nathan Broadhead, who just come on as a substitute. Callum Doyle then powered home a header 15 minutes from time to make it 4-3, and then Nathan Broadhead again with a really neat finish following an excellent Lewis O'Brien through ball made it 5-3 5 minutes from time. In truth, in the second half, after Kipray's goal, Ipswich had relatively few chances. It was Wrexham in the ascendancy. Some excellent passing football. Josh Windass to the fore in much of it. He got a standing ovation when he came off 10 minutes from time. Wrexham were also denied what I thought was pretty much a stonewall penalty for a foul on Callum Doyle. In the end, that didn't matter. It's the home side who bank 3 points and continue their playoff push. Ipswich, having lost just 1 in 9, left to lick their wounds. Andy Morell and Mia Roberts have been enjoying this afternoon's game. Well, Mia, apart from horrendous weather, nothing else really to detract from an incredible 90 minutes.
No, just incredible, really. I mean, I think I'm losing my voice a little bit because of just how mad that second half was. Never mind the first as well. Just like you say, a really good advert for Championship football, and Wrexham as well. You know, I think to concede so early on in that second half, and you know, it's so difficult for something like that to happen, especially when again they'd had a really strong first half, and you felt like, oh, you know, was this one that maybe we just didn't capitalise on the sort of pressure that we put Ipswich under at times, and then, like I say, to concede that early, and you know, to not get knocked back from that, but to actually make that sort of the making of you, really, if you like, and yeah, especially with, you know, like you say, the penalty shout that didn't get given, and you know, things like that, and sometimes you have moments like that and you think, oh, it's just not our day today. But to respond like how they did, I think Phil Parkinson will be absolutely delighted. I think that'll, you know, find itself quite high up in this sort of season so far, best moments, because that was some game today, and I think, you know, every single one of those boys, you know, worked so hard for that Wrexham badge upon their chest.
And it was a bit of a reminder of the National League seasons, wasn't it? The Dover 7-6 and the Barnet 7-5. But in the second half, Wrexham's passing, their movement, the substitutions, Broadhead's immediate impact. We pulled him out, didn't we, pre-match to say that he was a key man for Wrexham today. And some of those aspects of his play which we looked at before the game really came through today in terms of picking up and driving forward and his ability to provide an assist.
Yeah, and you're always looking for your subs to make an impact in a good way to your team, and we certainly had that today. You know, Bristol City had it on Tuesday night, but we had the same sort of impact from our bench today. I thought Lewis O'Brien was absolutely magnificent today. He was everywhere, and he had real quality when on the ball as well. It's a brilliant victory. It's a brilliant win. They've got the second best defensive record in the league. Only Stoke have conceded less. And to go and put 5 past them at home, it's some remarkable achievement and a brilliant win. But I don't think anything surprises us now, does it, with this team, of the resilience it has, the quality that it has in there as well. It's really looking good for us to move forward, and I think results have maybe gone in our favour as well today as well, looking at some of the fixtures.
We talked at half-time, Mia, about the impact Kiefer Moore had made in the first half, but also Josh Windass in partnership with him up top, and Moore perhaps in the second half was less obviously Wrexham's key man, although he still did a solid job up front. Windass, though, continued in the vein he'd picked up in the first half, and when Broadhead came off the bench for Rathbone, there was another threat as well for Ipswich to have to deal with.
Yeah, and it's just that sort of unwavering depth of quality that Wrexham now seem to have at their disposal. You know, we haven't even seen the likes of Bailey Cadamarteri or Davis Keeler-Dunn really yet, have we? Well, we haven't seen Cadamarteri at all. You know, they're still settling in. So again, there's just so many good things to look forward to really with this Wrexham side. And yeah, listen, I agree with Andy. I thought O'Brien was brilliant today. I thought Thomason was, you know, superb, just working his socks off. But Windass as well. I mean, you know, he spoke about, you know, not so long ago how he's been playing, you know, under an injury in the last few months or so. And you know, in the last few weeks, I just think he seems to be right back to full fitness and has come out of that so well. But also his performances, not just today, but in the last few weeks, particularly off the bench too, you know, they've improved so much. He's such a good player for this team and so important to this team. And the likes of Nathan Broadhead as well. I'm sure he wouldn't have been too happy being named on the bench today after getting that start on Tuesday. But you know what? He comes on and he does the job and more, and that's exactly what Phil Parkinson will want from this team.
Yeah, I think they know, though, if you're not in the team, you can come on and make an impact, and you're not going to play every week. If you're a 10 or you're one of our forward players, you're not playing and starting every game on and on because of the number of games we have and the amount of intensity that he wants from our front five, if you like. And so they've got to take it. They've got to be mentally strong and go, right, well, if I'm not starting, I'm going to affect the game in some way when I do come on. And I think Windass has done that Tuesday, and he's done that last couple, QPR, if you like. Rathbone's doing the same. O'Brien's doing the same. They're all at it, and they're all in it together, aren't they?
It's such a strength. You know, I think I saw a conversation on one of the podcasts the other week about how would you actually rather have, you know, a sort of 20-plus goal man in your side, or how Wrexham do it and sort of spread out those goals. And one thing it does do, it certainly takes the pressure off just one guy sort of doing it, you know, week in, week out. By what we have at the moment, it means, you know, if someone is out of form a little bit, you can take them out and give these other lads a go who are certainly going to put their foot to the gas and make sure, you know, there's absolutely sort of no drop off.
Yeah, well, Chris, we had it when I was at Blackpool. I got just a 20 on the last game of the season, but we had 3 others in double figures. And you can just, you know, if you're not playing, then somebody else is going to step up and do the right thing. And this team has that. They've got goals all over them, haven't they? All in those front 3-4 positions. They just look so strong.
And one of those goals today came from George Thomason. George is going to come and join us. Andy Meir, stay where you are. Don't vacate the studio. Let's bring George in to join us.
A little bit of maypole.
There we go. George is in. George, thanks so much for coming straight out of what must be a fairly jubilant dressing room, I guess. What's it like in there right now?
Everyone's obviously buzzing, delighted with the with the win. Obviously, we were a little bit deflated on Tuesday night after we thought it was a really strong performance away from home, and to concede late on. So obviously the feeling and the buzz of coming here and getting 3 points and back in that, not a bad draw away from home, but when you feel as though the 3 points were there for you to go and then win a couple of days later makes things even better. Yeah.
It was a terrific watch, George. What was it like to play in?
Yeah, brilliant. Look, we all know Ipswich are a really strong team. They've got such good depth all over the pitch, so it was going to be a tough game. Out of possession, we knew we had to be disciplined, but equally we know we're a really talented group, so we have so much confidence in ourselves to pass the ball and trust one another. And I thought a lot of the goals today were really high calibre, and there's a lot of quality play out there. We done the hard yards, we done the ugly stuff. We were disciplined without the ball, but equally I thought we showed some real character and real quality in possession.
Again, George, I think you just don't look like a player playing out of position. How much are you enjoying this role at the moment?
No, it's good. It's enjoyable. I feel as though, to be fair, I'm still getting the same buzz and energy out of a midfield performance, but just a little bit outside the pitch. I get to go forward. I get to help out defensively. I suppose it's just out on the sides. But no, really enjoying it. As I said previously, I've got some real high quality players around me which make good decisions and make my life easy, so no, really enjoying it. Yeah.
And the obviously goal today as well, obviously you had that one from the corner ruled out, didn't get given to yourself, but to get that first goal for Wrexham today, how pleasing is that?
I'm delighted, to be fair. I feel as though the last few weeks in particular I've been getting closer and closer and getting quality shots off on goal, and it's not going in for one reason or another. I say, as much as you want to play well consistently, you want to add goals and assists, so I'm really happy to get my first goal for Wrexham.
And this team seems to have so much resilience, when they have two setbacks, whether you lose a game or it's in game when you go behind. What is that about the team that they just find a way of just coming back or having a go?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's like a mentality thing, a never kind of say give up, and kind of belief within ourselves. I think I can only kind of go back to the characters and the characters within the group and how strong-minded everyone is. Everyone wants to do the hard yards for each other. Everyone wants to put their best performance out there, because equally we've got lads that aren't even in the squad or can't come off the bench, and everyone's chomping at the bit to play their part. So everyone's got to make sure they're on it, because you can't take your place for granted. So I think when you come up against a little bit of adversity in game, you've just got to keep marching on, and we seem to have that in abundance.
Yeah, are we going to see more goals?
I mean, I'm going to try. I mean, it's tough work sometimes getting up and down in the box, and you're in your own box, but I'll try my best. Yeah.
And George, just take us into training this week, because obviously Ipswich arrived here with a pretty mean defence. Was it something that you spoke about as a group, about how you were going to go about trying to unlock them?
Not necessarily, no. Look, we just knew kind of what shape they were going to play, and obviously we know the shape that we was going to play, and it was about exploiting that in different ways, which I thought we did. And when you exploit it naturally in possession, you're going to find yourself with opportunities, and I thought we were really disciplined out of possession, and we won things on high regains, but we also picked through them, and we showed different ways to score goals. You see today we scored one on a transition, we scored one playing through them, we scored off a set piece. It's just showing that we've got multiple ways to score, and that's every credit to the coaching team and to the boys.
Fantastic. Well, George, thanks for coming to join us on Matchday Live so quickly after full time. Well done on your first goal.
Thanks.
We thought we'd said that to you last time, but definitely this time no one's taking that one away from you.
I'd have two.
Maybe the last trick.
And we'll see you Tuesday night for Portsmouth. Thank you, George. Thanks very much. George Thomason, Wrexham left wing back and scorer this afternoon of what is undoubtedly his first goal for Wrexham. No question about that one. Let's have a look at how all the other games played out in the Championship today, because there is a full programme that has been taking place, both with some lunchtime kickoffs and some 3 o'clocks. Let's take a look at those results and where that leaves things in the Sky Bet Championship table. So Wrexham's victory here by 5-3 will take them back into the playoff places, because Derby County there, you will see, were beaten by 2-0 at Watford. So that puts Wrexham back up into 6th. So QPR winning up at Hull. That was a lunchtime kick-off, all square between Stoke and Leicester. Swansea beating Bristol City. Coventry are right back on it with a win at struggling West Bromwich Albion. Good set of results these from a Coventry perspective. Middlesbrough and Oxford United all square and 0-0 there up in the northeast. So Middlesbrough drop points in the race for automatic promotion. Millwall beaten at home by Portsmouth. What a win that is for John Massinio's side, who are here on Tuesday night. That looked a very tough ask to go to the New Den, but they've returned with all 3 points. That will certainly sharpen minds in the Wrexham dressing room. Looking forward to Tuesday. Norwich beaten at home by Birmingham. Southampton and Charlton all square, and Watford beating Derby, as we mentioned. Let's have a look then at where that leaves the championship table this evening, because it will make for good reading if you are a Wrexham supporter, as Wrexham once more move into the top 6. There they are. Played 33, won 13, drawn 12 and lost just 8. A +7 goal difference and a 2-point cushion over Birmingham City, who are up to 7th in the league. Hull and Ipswich just 3 points ahead in those other playoff places, but Wrexham reinstalling themselves back into the playoff positions with that victory today. We'll take a quick look at the bottom of the table, because Portsmouth's victory at Millwall will propel them a little bit away from danger. There's a few teams in the lower reaches of this division starting to find a bit of form. Blackburn with back-to-back wins, Portsmouth going well. Norwich lost today, so they lose a little bit of ground they'd been making up from getting away from the bottom 3. Sheffield Wednesday live to fight another week, but it's just a question of when they will be automatically relegated. Oxford struggling for a bit of momentum, and Leicester City, of course, with that points deduction, are in the 3rd relegation place. West Brom hovering just above in 21st. Well, Andy, that league table makes for interesting reading, but what a win that is for Portsmouth at Millwall, with them being next up for Wrexham on Tuesday.
Yeah, well, I think they've had a really good window, Portsmouth. They brought in Eboué Adams from Derby, and he's just given them some real energy in the centre of the park. Just talking to Michael Doyle, who's one of the assistants down there, and they've just really took off and had a little bit of confidence, and off they go, and they're the ones in form, and they're coming here on Tuesday night, just at the wrong time for us, really. But hey, we would take on anybody, I would have thought, after today's result and the way that we played, the performance from Tuesday that we've took on to the tonight. I think we wouldn't fear anyone, I don't think.
The question as ever, Mia, when you get 2 games in quick succession like this, particularly if you've won the first of them, is who do you rest? Who do you keep going? And this will always be the challenge for Phil, won't it? It was one of the things he said to us right at the start of the season, is that the Saturday-Tuesday pattern of the Championship means you need a big squad. The one downside, I guess, for Wrexham today was that injury to Ben Sheaf. Looked like a shin injury in the first half, and with Matty James out as well at the moment, we don't know, of course, yet the extent of Sheaf's injury, but that does start to leave Wrexham a little bit short of bodies in central midfield.
Yeah, but then we've seen someone like Zach Viner come on and slot into that position, which we know he's done this season for Bristol City. So, having another body like that, could be so vital, especially because he is versatile in that area. But yeah, I think it's it's a case of looking at sort of the science stuff and seeing where levels are, and also, like we say, though, it comes back to the squad we have. You've got the ability to make these sort of maybe sometimes hefty sort of changes and not really feel the effect of it in a negative way, because the squad we have built and Phil Barrington's built is just so strong.
And Phil is on his way to join us very soon. I can see he's just chatting with one of the Ipswich players on the edge of the playing surface, so we'll get Phil's reactions in just a moment. But Andy, I mean, that must be a dressing room now that has a level of belief in it. Coventry City beaten here 3-2, Ipswich beaten here. Middlesbrough, of course, don't come to the very end of the season. But if you look at the top sides in the league, Wrexham have shown they've got the ability to beat them.
Yeah, they have, and I think, again, we've seen the evolution of this team from the start of the season, the way we were playing here, West Brom, QPR, the way that we were, to now where we're just passing the ball loads more, we're in control of games loads more, our intensity is right through the roof still. It looks like everybody's enjoying playing at the moment because, well, results are going for us as well, winning games, that helps, but the group just seems so strong in depth that there's no change when necessary.
Phil Parkinson just coming into the studio this evening. Goodness me, Phil, there are lots of different ways to win a football match, but there don't tend to be too many methods that are as entertaining as that one.
No. Well, some game. I think you've got to understand the magnitude of that result today, because we went to Bristol Tuesday. They hadn't had a game at the weekend. Tough game. We played Ipswich today. They put a whole new team out. Hadn't had a midweek game either. And for the lads to respond the way they've done, quality of the first half was really good. Very unlucky to be 2-2. And we said, don't let that goal affect us. And lo and behold, the centre half smashed the goal in to make it 3-2. And it would have been very easy to people maybe feel a bit sorry for themselves and physically get the energy drained out of us. But the response was amazing. And, if there was a game where our supporters should be very proud of their team, it's today.
Absolutely. When that third goal went in, Phil, and you were 3-2 down at the start of that second half, did you and Steve Parkin try and get some messages to the players at that point?
Obviously there's still so much of the game to go, and it took us a while, and I was tempted to make the substitutions, and then we got into our rhythm again. I thought I'd just leave it, and then we changed it. I felt that the bench had a good impact for us when we needed it the most, particularly Broadie. Obviously he's made one and scored one, which you need. And Broadie played his first game on Tuesday for a while, and as much as his old club, I've got to look at the bigger picture with Nathan. But what a contribution when he came on.
We picked him out before the match today, Phil, and we were talking about his ability to pick the ball up from deep positions, run forward, put a team on the back foot and create something, and that's what he did within a minute of coming on.
Yeah, listen, when we can find Broadie in those pockets, he's a very dangerous player because he's got pace and obviously he's got skill as well. And yeah, so pleased with him. But it's not just about Broadie today. There's some colossus performances for us. There really was. Doyley getting a goal after being absolutely poleaxed by the goalkeeper before that. I mean, when the ref looks at that back, how he didn't give a penalty, honestly, is beyond belief. It's one of the clearest penalties you ever likely see. And Doyley's very lucky because, that he could have easily been knocked out in that moment. But for him to get a goal, Tomo to get his goal as well, I'm so pleased. And obviously we're happy. We're obviously feet on the ground, ready to go again Tuesday. But it's a good day for us.
Can I just take you back to the first half? There was so much to talk through, Phil, but your deployment of Kiefer Moore this afternoon in a more left-hand channel type position up front, was that something that you'd looked at, that he could get some space rather than going straight through the middle?
I mean, one thing we always speak about with the strikers, whether it's Kiefer or Sam, is offering that threat down the sides. And Furlong was very advanced at times, and Doyley's got a great left foot, and you leave that channel open, you're in trouble. And I thought Kiefer was unplayable in that first 45 minutes. He was immense for us today. It was a brilliant goal with the finish. It's 13 for the season for the big man, and I thought he's right back to his best today, Kiefer. He fought hard. He kind of made balls which weren't his. He did all the scrappy things well and got his rewards with his goal.
13 for him this season and 10 for Josh Windersfield, but also 2 great assists from him in both halves today, one with his head and one with his foot. I thought he was another one who put in a huge performance, and obviously the fans stood for him when he came on.
Yeah, I think with Josh that he's a player who produces big moments in games, and he's done that so many times as this season. He's got real final third quality, and pleased with his contribution today.
Ben Sheaf, any news on his injury?
No, and I think that's worth mentioning as well. We've had another setback today, similar to the Millwall game. We've lost Matty and lost Libby, and I felt when Sheafy came off there was a little bit of a dip in the boys. We kind of lost a bit of control, and Dobbo then got into the rhythm and did brilliant for us, Georgia. He really did. Very unlucky not to be starting the game after the way he played against Ipswich last Friday. But we'll assess Sheafo. It obviously is a blow with having Matty out, but listen, we're all about not making excuses, responding. Sheafy and Matty being out, first of all, it's given us a chance to look at Louis in that number 6 role, and he's been an absolute revelation in there.
Phil, thanks for coming to join us. Hugh, congratulations on the win. I hope you're going to have a few drinks tonight.
Yeah, well, I will do.
Maybe one. We'll see you Tuesday. Phil Parkinson, Wrexham manager. No doubt he's got a good evening in front of him. Well, I'd hope so anyway. After masterminding that 5-3 victory over Ipswich Town. I'm sure, though, he won't let his mind wander too much, and he'll be straight on to watching videos of Portsmouth and preparing for Tuesday night's visitors. Back here at the Stoke Kairas. I think Phil rather enjoyed that afternoon, Mia.
Well, just a bit maybe, but no, rightfully so. It's these sort of moments where you have just got to enjoy them, because, as you say, within a few hours, within tomorrow, it switches again and you're straight back onto focusing on Portsmouth, which now looks like probably an even more difficult game really after their result today. So yeah, I hope they all enjoy it, but enjoy it by being disciplined, if you like, and heads switch straight back onto the next game, which, like I say, is another big one under the lights.
I think he's right with what he said right at the start of that. Is what a statement that is to the league and to where we are now as a football club, because Ipswich were bang favourites to get out this league back out, and they've gone into some sort of form in the last sort of 10-15 games. They really hit their stride, but to beat them in the FA Cup in the change team, then to do it to their full team and they're full at it, that's some going. Do you know what I mean? And you have to take it absolutely and take your point.
And the evolution of the team as well, because you think back, the 0-0 there was a hard-earned but largely defensive performance.
Yeah.
Then we saw a 1-0 victory in the Cup last Friday that showed Wrexham have got a bit more offensive threat about them against admittedly a much changed Ipswich side, but still a very strong squad. A lot of players who played in the Premier League last season. And then today we've seen another gear forward again. So it's almost like Ipswich have been a bit of a marker through those three iterations, I suppose, of how the team is developing, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. And the control we had with the passing, how quick we were, the intensity that we went at them without and with the ball, just shows that we are getting better and better. And this is what Phil Parkinson's teams tend to do is, they start fairly slow and then they just get this momentum and they're going, and it just feels like that again.
Let's have a look at the statistics then from this breathless afternoon in North Wales and see how they played out. 8 goals, of course, the key statistic from the afternoon. Ipswich actually shading the possession overall, 51.3% to 48.7. 13 shots. There didn't seem to be too many of those in the second half from Ipswich, but probably the bulk in the first. Wrexham with 17 overall and more of them on target. Wrexham forcing more corners through the game. Let's have a look at the defensive statistics as well, because it was certainly a tough afternoon if you played in defence. Forwards and midfielders combining through the afternoon. Wrexham making the more interceptions and more clearances in the end, and having the better of the aerial duels. Mia, what stands out for you there?
Well, just looking at both attack and defence, I mean, first of all, 10 shots on target from Wrexham. I'm not sure we've seen that, double figures in that stat too many times this season. I'm trying to think, maybe Sheffield United, maybe. Obviously, there was 5 goals that day as well. But, the chances we're making, and now with the quality of players we have on the pitch, you always fancy, this personnel to take those opportunities and turn those into goals. And also, obviously, like you say, limiting Ipswich to not too many, full-blown opportunities, is you're always going to be in with a shot. And I think, again, that defence, listen, in moments they looked a little bit shaky. I thought maybe when we did, make that decision to sit back, but which I think, in all fairness, I think you have to do. You can't, press with that intensity like we did, particularly in that first half. So, that's all fair. But I think, again, it's a real good sort of springboard to go off, and, as Phil Parkinson says, a massive statement to the rest of the league as well.
But I think Phil can be really proud of what he's been doing, because he sort of fell on Kakache injured, McLean gone. What do we do out there? Do we need to bring somebody in? And then he just moves Thomas and tries something, and he's been an absolute revelation. Yep. You go and lose James out the middle, and let's try O'Brien in there, and because he's played there before, and he's been sensational since he's gone back into that 6th role, like he said. And just things seem to fall into place for him. And if they do come up against a little bit of a setback, somebody's able to just pick up the mantle and run with it even faster than the person that was in it.
And with Zach Viner now getting some minutes today, Mia, he was deployed in that defensive midfield role. He's played that role for Bristol City, and that might be a role that perhaps Phil might not have expected to use him in when he brought him in, perhaps as primarily centre-half cover. But with Sheaf potentially out and James almost certainly out for Tuesday night, then there's got to be a chance that Viner plays at least some part of that game in a similar role.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I think as well, when you look at that back line and you think, do we actually need him in there maybe a bit more? But you look at someone like Dan Scarr on the bench today, and every time he's been given an opportunity this season, you have to say he hasn't really put a foot wrong, has he? So I think Phil will be looking at that going, well, we can actually protect that a little bit. We know this back three are working really well together. They seem to have that sort of synergy between them. And yeah, I think Zach Vine, obviously he played here, didn't he, for Bristol City in that sort of 6 role, so he can certainly do it. He's so experienced at this level, and yeah, I just think it's working out quite nicely.
We are conceding too many goals at home. We are we conceded the most past Sheffield Wednesday out of in the league at home, and so that's something that I'm sure Phil Parkinson will be looking to address, whether it's Weimer making a change in that back three or maybe sitting somebody in front. But I certainly think, like Phil said, that we lost a little bit of something when Sheaf did go off, because it took Dobson a little bit of time to get into the game because it was so early. But we do need to stop conceding so many goals.
I think part of that, perhaps, is
but we score
system,
a lot,
isn't it? Because if you're playing 3-4-2-1, you haven't got that holding midfielder sitting deep. Whereas if you're playing 3-5-2, the most defensive midfielder almost becomes an extra centre half and can drop in there a little bit. So the fact that the system has evolved from 3-5-2 in Phil's previous seasons to 3-4-2-1 this year, one downside of that has been the fact that whilst defensively there's a lot more creativity, perhaps defensively you're losing a bit.
Yeah, but those two sitters, we thought we'd cracked it from the start of the season. We'd put two sitting in front of the three, and that just makes us a lot more solid from there. And it can be the front five, if you like, can go and cause problems on our offence. But we're still conceding goals with two in there now, and it's just something that we need to look at to maybe, if we are going to make that next step and get in that top six for certain, we've just got to stop conceding just sloppy goals, really.
Yeah, I think as well, though, it's personnel. I look at, when we were very solid and it was your James and your Ben Sheaf, and I think, those two, you're going to get more of that defensive sort of experience, but also, intent as well. I think with someone like Lewis O'Brien coming into that six, and listen, I think he was brilliant, both going forwards and coming back today, but he probably plays with that little bit more risk in his game, where he will step and he will go and he will commit himself, and with that comes obviously the advancements of us having more opportunities in attack, but then it also leaves that space in behind. So it's one of them, you're sort of give and you take.
Always the trade-offs. Always the trade-offs. Well, if you're going to win 5-3 every week, then it doesn't matter how many you concede. You've just got to keep scoring more than you concede, and it'll always be a very good watch. Andy Meir, thank you very much as ever this afternoon. Here's hoping Tuesday night is just as entertaining against Portsmouth. We'll be in for a decent evening if it is. We wish the Wrexham women's team every success tomorrow in the Adran Trophy final. 5 o'clock kickoff at Bangor City for Jenny Sugarman's team against Cardiff. So that is tomorrow at 5. We wish the Power Chair team every success against Heracles Almelo, 2 o'clock on Tuesday. And then the youth team are in action at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. They face Aston Villa in the FA Youth Cup. We'll bring you updates when the first team game gets underway at 7:45 on Tuesday. Every Wrexham team in action in the next 3 days. It's just that time of the season when football comes pouring in. Here's hoping that those games ahead are as entertaining as the one today. 5-star Wrexham, too much for Ipswich Town. The Tractor Boys left to leave the racecourse with a puncture. It will seem a heck of a long journey home. Thanks for joining us on Matchday Live this afternoon. Diolch am wylio. We'll see you on Tuesday. Good night.